All right, a friend of mine, an amazing activist, Mippy Valentine, is next on the stage. She's been a vegan activist for 10 years, is a public speaker, and does direct action for animals. When not breaking the law, Mippy is doing vegan outreach to open the hearts and minds of the people around the world. An amazing person, a beautiful heart. Please give a massive round of applause for Mippy Valentine.
Hello? Oh, there we go. No, boom. Okay, so I'm going to let you know who I am. I'm Mippy, commonly known as Mooing Mippy. I'm going to let you know a little bit about me and how I became the person I am today and what I want to see for the future of activism here in Australia. Like anyone, I was brought up an animal lover. My dog was my best friend. I went to college. I wanted to be a veterinary nurse, so I went to an animal agricultural college. I got to learn some of the best practices in the world, which included castrating animals with elastic bands and understandably sent me vegetarian. Changing direction in career, I've many years in the mental health sector. And then I went to work, and when I came to Australia, I worked on a small family-run dairy farm that ticked every single one of my vegetarian boxes. On this dairy farm, it was like a sledgehammer to the face of reality about what we're allowed to get away with how we treat animals. I'd witnessed some of the worst cases of animal abuse to date, including cows having their tails broken, being bashed, mothers lay on the floor, basically having poles smashed over their bodies, and having baby cows drowned in front of me for showing them compassion. I also reported to the RSPCA and realised how corrupt the system was when they tipped off the farm while I was working there, and then basically made out that I never reported until I reported them through an animal rights organisation called Animal Liberation Victoria. Since leaving that dairy farm, I've become a dedicated activist because I want to see an end to animal cruelty and the standard practice of how we're allowed to get away with treating animals. I've travelled the world to find out how I can become the best advocate for animals. And I can tell you now there is no wrong way to do any type of activism. All activism is needed as long as you're not physically hurting anybody. This year, I went to a third world country and I documented religious slaughter. And excuse my terms when I say this, but this was the first time I'd witnessed such lack of disregard to suffering and to animals other than fish. So, disregard my wording on this, but I had a cow at my feet that was hog-tied with its throat been slit open, and as she was screaming through the flap of her neck, there was a cow behind her being skinned. There were little children as young as 5 to about 8 and even younger running around playing, completely ignoring the suffering of this animal. And as this was happening, this cow at my feet who was thrashing around, a guy came along who I had made friends with a meat skewer with freshly killed and cooked goat meat on this meat skewer, leans over the animal and says, "Would you like some?" And then, as I'm recording this, I was like, no thank you. I didn't want to have to explain what vegan was, so I just told him I was Buddhist. When I walked away from that, I realised one thing. It is social conditioning. We live in a world where we claim ourselves as a nation of animal lovers. Yet we are socially conditioned to ignore the fish on the pier that die slowly with their silent screams. We're socially conditioned to ignore the slaughter trucks that go past us with dying animals on it that are scared, with broken limbs, and we turned a blind eye. We need to take this opportunity to shine light in the darkest of places, to make people aware about what is happening. no time to waste. Literally no time to waste. The UN has already told us that we have the opportunity to change stuff around climate-wise. We're making people go focus on a plant-based diet. 12 years. And veganism is the fastest growing social justice movement this planet has ever seen to date. I have been vegan for 10 years, yet I can see the changes. 10 years ago, I was asked to leave places because we don't serve people like you. Now we have Hungry Jack's, Domino's, all bringing out vegan food. And that's only with 1% of vegans being activists. 1%. If we had 50% of vegans being active in one way or another, we'd have a vegan world last week. We have no time to lose. In fact, we're in a climate emergency, and by Christ, those animals' lives are already an emergency, and you have to remember, as I'm saying this, there are animals right now hanging upside down, dying in misery, and those lining up waiting for it and visualizing it. The biggest threat to our movement today is in-house fighting. Also undercovers in our movement, they're called paid aggravators and agent provocateurs, who discredit people who are in our movement to make other people not like them through lies and basically just stirring about a person's image to make people believe in this stuff. And they're paid by the industry and government bodies. And our other biggest problem is vegans. Vegans who don't like a form of activism. Now, those vegans, if you don't like what someone's doing, get out there and show us something better. Don't go bag-mouthing what vegans are doing. It is a fact. In-house fighting slows us down by 40%. That is huge. If you really care about stopping animal suffering, if you don't like how someone's going about something, don't waste your energy on trying to make other people be on the same page as you and drag someone down. Get out there and show us something better. I invite you with open arms and welcoming arms. My solution to this is stop with this. Stop with social media outcalling people. If you see someone make a post, don't go jumping on the bandwagon. If you hear someone say something that's not PC, go and talk to them. Because as humans, we aren't all up to date with every injustice, social justice issue of this planet. If we want to see a community where we all thrive together, let's build one another up. Let's build the community that we want to see for everybody. We will not do that by demonizing anybody.